Ready to get this show on the road?
Are you ready?
Yes. Can you give me one more of those with more energy, Danielle?
Are you ready?
Am I ready for what?
To podcast.
To podcast what?
I don't know. It's your week.
It's Spook Retorts, Danielle.
It's Spook Retorts. Woo!
Woo! I think I found an opener. Hello and welcome to Spook Retorts.
Oh, I forgot we got to do the Oogie Boogie noises. Woo!
Yeah, it's our spooky episode for Halloween month of October, which aren't really that spooky, but it's cool.
We made it the whole year. We get to have an annual tradition, Sam.
Yeah, I never thought we'd get to another one, so can color me both impressed and spookified.
And orange.
Well, please don't.
Spook Retorts.
I don't need a bad
orange.
pan.
It's obviously orange, Sam. Come on.
Okay, great. Thanks, Danielle. I appreciate that. Let's just keep going before this gets worse. So this is the podcast. Oh, sorry. We didn't introduce ourselves. I'm Sam.
I'm Danielle.
Well, we're just so excited for Spook Retorts. We just can't contain ourselves.
I am kind of excited for Spook Retorts. This is cool.
So, in case you were unaware, and all that rambling did not make it clear, this is the podcast where one of us will share a piece of media with the other person who has no idea what we're talking about.
And I have no idea what Sam's talking about for Spook Retorts today.
I know, and my spooky piece of media is not that spooky, which is not atypical for me.
Sam's not a big horror movie buff like I am.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy horror, but I'm nowhere near your caliber, Danielle. I will put it out there. I will cop to that easily.
I fell into it. It's fine.
But what I have for you today, Danielle, is the 1987 classic.
Are we using this indiscriminately, or is it really a classic, Sam?
I mean, there's a lot of nostalgia for it, but I don't know if that means it's good.
Okay, what is it?
It's The Monster Squad.
The Monster Squad.
Yes, The Monster Squad. So.
I just wanted to repeat it again, but I didn't.
You could. We just go back and forth for 20 minutes of this and call it a night.
The end. Welcome to Spook Retorts, everybody.
Spook Retorts. We'll just say The Monster Squad 70 times and then sign off. Spooky.
Where Danielle just tries to guess what it's about based on the title.
Take a quick guess, Danielle.
About a group of monsters.
Oh, you nailed it.
Oh, I'm so good at this game. Give me another one.
Wrong with one thing. The Monster Squad is not the group of monsters.
Oh, okay. Are they going to fight a group of monsters?
Danielle, please. We'll get to all that, but first, there's a description for you to read.
Oh, yes, that's a thing. It says Dracula, the Wolfman, the Gillman, the Mummy, and the Frankenstein monster. I'm glad it says the Frankenstein monster, not just Frankenstein. Are in hot pursuit of a mysterious amulet.
You love the pedantry in this movie.
That will allow their return, and only the movie-loving kids in the neighborhood monster club can stop them! Exclamation point. An 80s Vestron VHS release. I like how you always keep in the weird extra little bits.
Why wouldn't I? Those are the best parts, Danielle.
What was the one that had like the, 32K
Oh, that was Way to Fire.
It's hilarious.
It's great. It's like, 32 kilobyte Blu-ray HD special.
This is quite the combination of monsters.
It's not that interesting, I promise.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we chose this for movie then.
It's interesting in different ways, Danielle.
Okay, bring it on.
The monster selection is by far the least interesting part. So, I want to preface this. This is a 1987 film, and it has the same disease as a lot of movies from that era of just casual homophobia and misogyny in a lot of the dialogue. So, that's not great, but I won't let that color my retelling of the other parts of the movie.
Okay.
But it is a product of its era, and it tries to be, like, edgy in ways. Like, all the kids are, like, swearing and stuff, even though they're, like, 12, so they're trying to be, like, that kind of movie. So, I'll be honest, about halfway through, and into my notes, I got really confused whether or not this was supposed to be a satire, or whether it was taking itself, like, kind of seriously. It was making fun. I couldn't figure it out, so.
Sounds like the Ice Pirates for me.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm really not sure what to think of this movie.
Perfect. Well, bring it on, Sam. We're duly warned.
All right. So, we open with text scrolling on the screen in the spookiest of colors.
Orange.
Red.
Okay, well, that's close.
Same area of the spectrum.
It is.
The text reads, 100 years before this story begins, ...
So
It was a time of darkness in Transylvania, ... A time when Abraham Van Helsing and a small band of freedom fighters, ... conspired to rid the world of vampires and monsters, ... and to save mankind from the forces of evil, ... Big break in paragraph. They blew it.
Aww.
So a very long and very interestingly spaced text with a bunch of ellipses for no reason.
Who doesn't love a good ellipses? I know I do.
And then we have a crash of thunder, and we're in a graveyard. The camera pans around as spooky music and the howling of wolves can be heard. The camera then pans around the graveyard up to a castle, and then dissolves, and we're inside a crypt. It's wet, it's dank, it's gross. We pan around some more as the credits come on screen. There are stone coffins in the crypt, and then there are armadillos wandering around the damp floor for some reason. Just armadillos in Transylvania. I didn't know they were
we're in
native.
Transylvania. I was like, where are we?
We just said Transylvania, Danielle.
I know, but I was listening. I don't know if we were like really there. Anyway, maybe there are armadillos in Transylvania. Listeners, if you happen to know, please give us a shout
They're
out.
a desert creature?
Generally, but you never know. I mean, I've never been to Transylvania.
I was just really distracted. I mean, there were like rats and stuff too, but I was just really, armadillos? What are those doing in there?
Because it looks cool.
There are hands that are pushing out from the coffin lids, or the crypt lids. And there are bats covering the ceiling. We get a real good close-up of one of the bats, which starts to transform into the human form. It's Dracula! I didn't see that coming, did ya?
Shocking.
He walks around the crypt just pleased as punch to be there, I guess.
Was he in charge of all the other monsters?
I mean, kinda, yeah.
So maybe that's why, Sam. Come on, it's not rocket science.
It is at this point in the movie, Danielle, where about 4 seconds of actual action have happened.
That's true. Sorry, I
And
forgot
most
the
of
rest
that was
summary.
armadillos. It's not like, oh, it's Dracula, Lord of the Armadillos.
Oh, well, okay, you don't know, Sam. Maybe he's very pleased that he has this little compadre
Menagerie?
of armadillos.
I mean, if I had an armadillo menagerie, I'd be pretty pleased too. They're very cute.
You totally would walk around and be like, look at all my armadillos. Aren't they lovely?
Look at them just dill around. Oh, they're so cute. Oh, I'm caught up on the ball. Look at you go.
Sam is Dracula.
Thanks for outing me on the podcast, Danielle. Not to kill you.
Only doing spook retorts.
So we cut to townsfolk in torches approaching the castle. I guess they got Vlad's party invite to celebrate his awakening or something. I don't know.
Does he not awaken frequently?
I have no idea, Danielle.
Okay, sorry. Continue on.
One of the townspeople just has a bundle of dynamite, which is lit and used to blow open the door of the castle, which is, I think, awesome. Like, why didn't more townspeople bring dynamite to fight Dracula?
Why didn't they try to kill Dracula when he was apparently asleep?
Because that would have made too much sense, Danielle.
Okay, sorry.
Actually, there is a reason, but we won't run that for a very long time. I just realized what it was when you mentioned it.
It didn't click until I asked.
No, not at all.
Oh, perfect. So they blew open the door, then what?
Inside the castle is a surprised woman in a bride outfit,
The prize
draining
woman?
the blood from a possum.
Did you say the prize woman?
Surprised woman.
Oh, a surprised woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's draining the blood from a possum. So armadillos and possums apparently just running around this place.
They have a lot of things I would not have expected in Transylvania.
Yeah, me too. And she's clearly interrupted mid-meal. And I don't know why she's dressed like a bride. She's called the bride of Dracula in the credits, but she is irrelevant to the story and is never mentioned again.
So she's not a love interest.
Nope, she just exists for about 4 seconds of screen time. Because the villagers burst in, they're all wielding shotguns in addition to their dynamite. So these guys are, thinking ahead. The woman in the wedding dress hisses at them, but one dude just levels a crossbow at her and shoots her in the chest, killing her because, stakes to the heart or something, and she's gone.
Oh, hardly knew her.
Didn't know her at all, though we do know she does love possum blood.
Well, who doesn't, Sam?
Armadillos, I guess.
You don't know that.
I don't. I think they're insectivores, aren't they?
Sam, I don't know.
Okay. That's when the man with the crossbow sees the glint of a gem that's set on a plinth. He looks at his pocket watch and says, 3 minutes! The girl! Now! And more villagers drag in a young girl, 14-ish, and they set her up in front of the gem and have her start reading off a scroll in another language. maybe Latin it sounds like. I don't know. And the castle starts to collapse and explode as she reads. Zombies pop up from the ground. The man yells, "Read, or we're all going to die." And I can't tell you how much I've heard that before, Danielle.
So what's Dracula doing during this time?
I guess he's just sort of like waiting for his moment.
He's just watching his armadillos.
Yeah, probably. Protect my armadillos! They're my most prized possession! The gem starts glowing more and more as she reads. Then, when she finishes or pauses, I'm not sure if she finished or just she looks scared, either way, the gem goes out, like the light in the gem goes out and a black hole forms and just sucks the girl away as zombies eat a man's face.
Uh-huh. It's got dark very quickly.
Yeah, well, the other voters sucked into the black hole and cut to black. They blew it, I guess.
The villagers did.
Yeah, and Van Helsing, he was among them somewhere.
Oh, okay. I missed that somehow.
I mean, it was mentioned in the opening words of the title scroll.
You know, I immediately forgot that, Sam, as I always do.
Because you don't pay any attention.
I just get focused on the here and now, and so therefore I can't remember what happened, 45 seconds ago.
4 seconds ago. Got it.
My brain it's like goldfish, if goldfish actually only remembered for that long.
I'm so proud you knew that fact. I don't know anything about armadillos, but goldfish you got.
I got it. I've had more experience with goldfish, Sam.
That's fair. Most people have.
They're the healthy snack that smiles back until you bite their heads off.
All right, I'm cutting that out because that's going to get us trouble.
Shame.
So we faded on a school. The words present day come up. So clearly we're in the same time period as knowing.
I was going to say.
When did all the other stuff happen? I don't know. 100 years ago, I guess.
Yeah, it said so. Yeah, that's the one part I remember.
And I mean, again, I guess that was Van Helsing become the crab. Like, again, it's so weird. Like, the opening credit comes up and then just cuts that scene. I don't know if that scene was the 100 years ago or if that was, like, just another part of the world.
Like modern day?
Yeah, just there's no context for it. And so, now we're in present day.
See, you thought I was weird that I was confused as to where we were, but you didn't even know what time period we were in.
I didn't say you were weird for not being confused where you were. I thought it was weird that you forgot that Van Helsing was a thing.
Or that we were in Transylvania.
Yeah, that's too. I mean, where else would Dracula be, to be fair?
I mean, I don't know, Sam. I thought we were in present day when that started, so I thought maybe his castle was just in Connecticut on a hill.
Welcome to my world. That's why it's so confusing. This movie is frenetic. It just cuts back and forth and none of it really makes, there's a bunch of little short scenes. It's crazy. Anyway, we're in the school. We go into the school where a teacher or the principal is berating two kids. So I'm just going to call Patrick and Sean because we don't know their names till later, but I'm not going to call them Kid 1 and Kid 2 because...
I thought you were just making up their names because they didn't have names at all.
No, they're Patrick and Sean. We learn them later.
You know how I love to make up a good name for a character.
You do, Danielle, and whether it's necessary or not.
So Patrick and Sean.
They're being berated while the principal is opening up the disciplinary files, which happen to have some drawings that he doesn't like. He's like, oh, it's on your disciplinary file. There are all these drawings you're doing. And the kid's like, oh, it's really cool. It's a spider with a human head and it eats cats and dogs. It's a monster. And the guy's like, I don't care what you're drawing. The fact is you're drawing them during your science class. That's the problem. And they explain how they have a monster club and they draw them and put them up on the walls of their clubhouse. And then Patrick goes on a rant about how they call the science teacher Meow Mix because her head is shaped like a cat head. But he's like, but not me, because that would be rude. And I'm like, I hate these kids already. They sound like real jerks.
It's a funny name, though.
No, it's not nice.
No, it's not nice at all.
The principal then sort of laughs at this and goes, I hear you. I was a kid once. I used to think monsters were cool. And maybe I'm just a big kid because I think science is cool.
Oh, he's that guy.
And I gotta be honest, science is super cool, but nothing has made science sound lamer than that guy trying to make it sound cool.
Tell him, Sam.
Those kids are definitely put off by his faux familiarity, but the principal insists that science is real, monsters are not, and the kids rejoin, we don't know that, which maybe is why they should pay more attention in science class.
It might be. Also, to be fair, I'm assuming at some point they meet monsters, so...
I mean, you get this point, though, Danielle, we don't think monsters are real.
That's
no
true.
one thinks monsters are real.
Oh, no one. These two kids do.
No, they don't know they're real either. They think they're fake. They're just being snotty. So they leave and walk down the school hallway, and they engage in some homophobic banter because 80s, I guess. And they're not looking, and they bump into the cat head teacher, and then they mock her as they walk away. And that's pretty much all the interaction they have with their school and their teachers. So not a high opinion of them.
Are these the main characters because they're in the Monster Club?
Yeah.
No, it's always good when the main characters are slightly disappointing.
They're very disappointing. So we cut to a kid who's being bullied by two other kids, Derek and EJ, because he's overweight. He is called, by both friends and bullies, Fat Kid as his nickname, but I will call him Horace because that's his name.
Good job, Sam.
So the bullies level some accusations about like, why are you so fat, fat kid? And call him some homophobic slurs. And when Horace defends himself, they start to beat him up. That's when an older kid, and these kids are like 12, and so the older kid is like 14. Like, this is not like actual teenagers, they're like tweens.
Okay.
That's when the older kid skids over on a bike wearing a leather jacket and shades. He lights a cigarette off his bike tire. He looks 13, and so his like faux Fonz act just looks hilarious. It's like a little kid trying to pretend to be cool. It's really cute. And the two bullies stop as Rudy, which is his name, looks at them. And he defends Horace, and then he makes EJ eat a candy bar off the ground, which was one that he had knocked out of Horace's hand and then stomped on as like punishment for beating up Horace. Like, eat the candy bar and we can all just forget this happened or whatever.
Ew, but also, they deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. End scene. Also, those bullies, not relevant, again.
They never come back?
They have a brief moment, but otherwise are relevant.
They don't even, like, get chased by monsters or something?
Not really.
Oh, that's sad.
There's a lot in this movie set that is wildly irrelevant.
I was kind of hoping they'd come back, like in Hocus Pocus, how the bad guys end up in the cages in the house.
Yeah. I mean, they cower at one point. That's about the extent of it. And we'll get to that. So anyway, cut back to Sean and Patrick, who are arguing about whether Wolfman could drive a car or not. And a little girl, Phoebe, joins them.
Why couldn't Wolfman drive a car?
That's a real good question, Danielle. It's one that I was not, I'll say I was not paying enough attention to their argument because I did not care.
Because I really feel like, why wouldn't they be able to? They're part human.
Yeah, like a werewolf / a wolfman could just, he doesn't drive a car and he's human. He could just, I know, it didn't make any sense. But they argue about like whether he needs to drive a car. He's not going to work or something. I'm like, that's not the point.
Well, maybe he can run fast in wolf form.
It doesn't matter, Danielle. It just shows that they are about to argue about any dumb thing like we are right now.
Like we're not any better.
No, we're not. But it's just more annoying when it's not you participating. So Phoebe joins them. She's the younger sister of Sean. And they pass by a house where a creepy German guy lives. And I never got stronger Boo Radley vibes than from this creepy German guy. So then Horace runs up to them and exclaims about how Rudy saved his life and maybe they could convince him to join the Monster Club. So apparently Rudy was just biking around the middle school or the elementary school trying to save Horace for funsies. Like this is their first ever meeting.
He's just a cool kid, Sam.
Just a cool kid. You'll learn Rudy is perhaps the least cool kid in this entire movie for reasons I will get to.
Excellent. Where's the set?
I have no idea.
Is it like small town, big city?
Yeah, it's kind of small town.
Okay.
It's very much like Americana, like, you know, every town USA. Think like wherever Back to the Future was set.
Okay.
But like, they never specify where this is because there's like 7 different environments in this town.
I just want to be able to visualize it in my head.
Yeah, it's definitely small townish though. So anyway, they think maybe they can convince him to join the Monster Club, and then Rudy's just casually smoking in the background. But Sean's like, okay, we'll have to give him the monster test to see if he can join. And I'm like, were monsters ever cool enough to demand an exclusive club? Also, is demand for the Monster Club high enough in your town that you can really be like turning away perhaps the coolest quote unquote members you could have?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I feel like kids always start clubs. It doesn't matter.
They do start clubs.
Whether it's cool.
Yeah, sure. They always start club, but I'm not sure they need to have like, oh man, this guy wants to join us, but we have to give him the monster test, even though he's super cool, could totally like boost our credibility and help defend us and seem like a cool dude.
Yes, I agree. Giving the monster
Maybe
test.
Just let him join because he seems like a cool kid. I don't know.
Some things are more important, Sam. You have to have monster credibility, okay? Monster street cred.
The monster credibility is very low. We'll get to that. But before we get to the monster test, because the movie just loves cutting away, we cut to a World War II looking cargo plane flying somewhere. Looks like over the ocean, but it's not over the ocean, which we'll get to in a moment.
Okay.
I think it's stock footage, which is why it looks like it's over the ocean. Inside, 2 pilots are chatting. One says, I'm depressed. And apparently he doesn't like flying an old plane with cargo and dead bodies in it. And I'm like, wait a minute, just casually flying dead bodies across the ocean? Cool.
But maybe there are people who die in one place but have to be transferred back to wherever they're going to be buried.
That's not the case in this instance, but let's go with it.
I tried.
The other pilot placates him by saying, well, they don't get airsick or complain. And that actually totally works. The pilot's like, you're right, I should love this job. He gets all perky. And like, wow, that was easy.
I mean, that's true, though.
There's a thunk from behind them in the cargo area, and they look a little worried, and the depressed pilot goes back to investigate. For some reason, the only light in the entire cargo hold is a single red light bulb.
Okay.
So the pilot also needs a flashlight? I'm like, that's just bad plane design.
It does seem kind of crazy, especially in a cargo hold where you would probably need light at some point.
Yeah, right. And maybe have not a red light bulb. Like, that's not a submarine where you're trying to like, or like a ship on the ocean where you're trying to like stay inconspicuous or let your eyes not adjust to the, get unadjusted to the dark. This is a plane in modern times. It's a cargo plane. Anyway, it's dumb.
Maybe because it used to be a warplane. You said it was a warplane.
Yeah, it used to be a warplane.
Maybe they just didn't update the actual.
They didn't change the light bulb since World War II.
Yeah. I don't know, Sam. It's possible.
Okay, sure. So as he's poking around, he's spooked by a bat, which he just kind of like brushes off. He's like, oh, bat,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, bats on planes. Happens all the time.
I mean, he gets scared and falls over, but he's like, oh, get it together, man. It's fine. I'm like, it's a bat on a plane. Like, that's not okay. So as he straightens up, Dracula's behind him.
Oh, no. That was what the bat was?
Yeah, of course. And then Dracula just straight up cold cocks him across the face, just like punches him.
Well, at least didn't like bite his neck and eat him.
I mean, I guess because Dracula is well known for his boxing skills.
You don't know, Sam. I mean, he's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Maybe. I have no idea how old he is. Could be a new Dracula. I don't know. Dracula then goes over to caress a crate, and while distracted, the pilot pulls a lever that opens a trap door in the plane. I just have a bunch of question marks here, because who puts a trap door in a plane?
World War II bomber, Sam.
I mean, I guess it could be the bomb bay doors, but also, what? Wouldn't you like, if you're going to retrofit that into a cargo plane, wouldn't you secure that because of the danger of losing all your cargo?
Also, if you're going to like retrofit it with a magic door, you should also change the light bulbs while you're at it.
That's what I'm saying. But Dracula just sort of floats there looking smug over the door as the crate falls out. He's like, I float.
Well, yeah, Dracula. Hello.
Yeah, and then he turns back into a bat and flies off, presumably to find the crate, which has landed in a swamp somewhere.
Louisiana.
No. They'd have better accents if that was true in this movie. So we cut to the Monster Club. They're in a tree house in the woods, which is actually just the backyard of Sean's house. And they're grilling Rudy on how you kill a vampire or, how do you kill a werewolf? And I'm like, oh, these are your basicest questions ever.
Well, they're 12/14, Sam. Give them a break.
Yeah. And then at this point, I wondered, why was Rudy so keen to join this club anyway?
Because it's the Monster Club, Sam.
It doesn't make any sense. It's obviously just contrived.
It's awesome. Because he's a dork. He said he was.
So there's also another club member named Eugene. Meanwhile,
okay,
Rudy
whoa. So we have Eugene, Rudy, Horace, Sean, and
Patrick. Yep.
Were there in 87? Were there a lot of Horaces, Rudys, and what was the other one?
Well, to be fair, Rudy puts on a 1950s greaser aesthetic, so...
Well, that makes all the difference. These are quite a variety of names for 1987.
Look, I can't go into the names. There's so much, I don't know what was popular in 1987 for kids, or I guess they were born probably in the early or the late 70s was a popular name for a kid in the late 70s, but...
Okay, but do you know many people named Horace that are 10 years older than us? I mean, come on.
Look, Danielle, if this is your biggest problem with the movie, we're going to have a very long night.
Just curious.
I have no idea. That's your name, Danielle. That's all I got.
All right, carry on.
So Rudy is using binoculars to spy on a young woman in her underwear through her window.
Of course.
Because he's classy. Sean chastises Rudy, is like, hey, it's the monster test. It's important, okay? Pay attention.
Got his priorities straight.
Yep. Then Phoebe tries to get in, but no girls allowed because kids.
What if Phoebe passed a monster test?
But Sean's mom calls him and Phoebe for dinner, so I guess Rudy's in the club. It's never resolved. He never actually answers any of the questions except for how to kill a vampire.
Well, that's easy, eh?
So back at their house, Sean's mom has picked him up a book written by Van Helsing, which she just stumbled across in their suburban town.
No, Sam, obviously it was a magic bookstore that only appears on the full moon on the...
Nope. It was not a magic bookstore. It was just a house that she happens to find it in, which they get to later. Why was in this house? Why was she in the house? Never answered.
Real estate agent.
Maybe. I have no idea. She seems to be a stay-at-home mom.
I have got plot background for days for this movie. You bring on all your questions. I'll answer them for you.
I could spend 17 hours making a plot background too. I'm not going to tell you what's in the movie, not what isn't in the movie. Because,
okay.
If I told you everything that wasn't in this movie, it'd be a much longer show.
Okay, so she finds a magic book.
Not magic, just a book.
Written by the Van Helsing, though.
By the Van Helsing. That's the crazy part. Oh, Van Helsing. She's like, oh, she's the one who fights Godzilla? I'm like, oh, she's trying to point out that she doesn't know anything. But Sean's disappointed to learn that the book is in German. Because I guess Van Helsing, even though he was in Transylvania, wrote in German?
Is that German guy Van Helsing?
No.
Oh, is that German guy going to help him read the book?
Danielle, why else would they put a German guy in the movie?
I don't know. I just figured out how to tie in.
Of course it is. It's like the first thing everyone thought of.
I was hoping it was Van Helsing, though. Not gonna lie.
Don't worry about it. Point is, why is Van Helsing writing in German?
I don't know enough about Van Helsing. I mean, I know the basics.
Or Transylvania.
I know, but I don't know, Sam.
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know the German-Transylvania crossover.
The bread's pretty small. So when we cut to night, a black hearse pulls up somewhere. It has a skull hood ornament, so you know it's for an evil.
Yeah.
A spooky man, Dracula, gets out. He walks over to a bluff overlooking the small city and says, "Let it begin." Lightning and thunder crash. The music swells. What's happening? I don't know. What's beginning? Also don't know.
So he's in charge of
the
elements.
There's no time for that because it's back to Sean flipping through the Van Helsing book.
I have a very important question.
No, you don't. What
I do. Is Dracula speaking in the classic Draculian accent?
No, he's not doing a Transylvania accent, Daniel. He's just speaking like a normal dude.
Dude, wrong.
I know. Kind of lame. Back in Sean's house, he stops to talk to his dad, who's apparently a cop, detective, something like that. Never really clear. Sean wants to go out that night to see Groundhog Day Part 12, which is a horror flick, not the comedy, because I don't remember when the comedy came out, but it may have been after this movie.
It might have been. Definitely not far enough from it to be Part 12.
Yeah, exactly. But no, his dad and his mom are going out, and he has to stay home and babysit. Sean is not pleased by this arrangement, but eventually acquiesces, and he asks his dad where he's going to take mom, and his dad says, marriage counselor, which, like, what? He's just going to tell you, hey, we're going to a marriage counselor.
Well, like, maybe they're very open about their mental health, Sam.
Apparently, because Sean just goes, what, again?
They're trying to work it out. Good for them.
No, they do absolutely no working out of anything in this movie.
Aw, well, they tried.
I like how much you try to defend the nonsense. It's like, everything I say, you're like, oh, this is a perfectly reasonable explanation. This crazy thing totally makes sense. Like, that actually makes any sense, Daniel.
I'll stop talking, Sam. Continue.
You just stop talking, but you can't be like, oh yes, Sam. The whole premise is the movie's ridiculous. If you keep undermining the premise by saying how everything makes total sense.
I just like to try and come up with an explanation, and this movie apparently requires a lot of them.
That's true.
I was super curious if Dracula spoke in a Transylvanian accent.
That's a great question, Danielle. That's a great question. Trying to justify why the dad is saying he's going to a marriage council with their son.
I just thought it was a reasonable excuse.
That they're very open?
I don't know their lives, Sam. You watched the movie, not me.
I don't know their lives either, Danielle. The point is, you don't know their lives. There's no context.
Well, sometimes I just throw stuff out to see if you can confirm or deny my suspicion. It's not my fault I'm often wrong because the movies or books that we read don't ever confirm or deny anything.
I mean, that's sort of what makes them so ridiculous, Danielle.
Well, sometimes stuff gets explained and I'm correct or not. Anyway, continue on, Sam.
What was I talking about? Oh, the dad gets a call. Someone at the station is begging to be locked up because he's a werewolf. He's just shouting in the background. So apparently this werewolf guy turned himself in because he felt bad. And the dad has to head down to the station. His wife is not pleased, to say the least. She's like, you can't keep going off for work. So clearly the dad's a workaholic, and that's what the strain of their marriage is from.
So there's nobody at the station that can cover for this guy?
There is. There's another detective there who calls him down, but apparently he has to go anyway.
Okay. That's nonsense. I'm kind of on the wife's side.
It is very much nonsense. Back at the station, the man is begging to be put in a cage and locked up because it's a full moon. And he's being restrained a bit because he's lashing out. And then he sees a glimpse of the full moon. He goes bananas. He grabs a gun and is promptly shot to death.
By the cops?
By a cop. By the other cops. Even in the police station.
Okay. No, it's just, I wasn't sure if he shot himself, if other people shot him.
No, I'm sorry. Yes. Definitely was brandishing the weapon and he was shot by cops. So then we cut to a museum, Danielle, where the detective called the dad down because apparently the werewolf guy was not the reason for the call.
Oh, okay.
I know, right? What a misdirection. The detective is talking to a guard there. Apparently, a mummy is missing from the museum.
That's never good. Does the Wolfman ever, the possibly fake Wolfman, does he ever come back into the plot?
I mean, he's dead, didn't he? He got shot, right?
I know. I was just curious of the point.
We'll see, Daniel. We will see.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if it tied back in. So there's a mummy missing.
The mummy missing. And this is what the dad was called in for, to investigate the missing mummy. And I don't know if it was urgent enough to call him in at 8 o'clock at night when he's at home. Oh, there's a mummy missing. You gotta get some APB. Everyone down here immediately.
We've got to find this mummy stat.
Right, like, why was this such a, like, I get it's not good, but, like, maybe it's not like it's, like, a bomb is gonna go off, or, like, there's a terrorist threat or something. This is a missing mummy. It's not, like, life or death.
They don't want to release the curse, Sam, obviously.
There, you got me there, Danielle.
Come on. It's 101.
Anyway, so he's there to look for a missing mummy. There are no clues, and the guard insists they would have heard anyone come in and steal it, which is apparently the extent of their security system. They have no cameras or anything.
They don't have any other way to monitor that?
Apparently not.
Man, 87.
Yep. And then we cut to the mummy shambling around outside. Where's he going? I don't know. Cut to an ambulance driving down the road. The man who said he was a werewolf's body is in the van when it starts to transform into an actual werewolf and he attacks the driver. Cut to a movie. A girl is screaming. It's a drive-in movie, and Sean is watching it from the roof via binoculars. I don't know how he can hear anything in the movie, but apparently he can.
I don't think that's how drive-in movies work.
It's not. It's not at all how they work. If you're far enough away and need binoculars, there's no way you can hear anything going on in that movie.
Yeah.
His dad joins him with some fast food. Lightning crashes, which seems to be not the best time for roof sitting.
Yeah, it seems like a terrible idea.
It's a terrible idea. But it's not raining, which is the weird. Like, there's no rain ever in this movie.
Just lots of
lightning. No rain.
It's magic lightning, Sam. It's brought upon by the Dracula.
Apparently Dracula's lesser known lightning powers.
Well, he called upon it earlier. We just established that he has powers over the elements.
Did we?
Yeah, because he stands on the cliff, and he's like, it's time, or whatever, and then all the stuff starts.
The lightning could have just been crashing for dramatic effect. It wasn't necessarily caused by him.
No, he definitely was caused by him, Sam. The timing was way too coincidental.
Okay, well, movies never have coincidental lightning crashes, ever, Danielle. It's not a thing that happens in movies.
I really just assumed when he said it's time, that was like triggering whatever weather event was going on.
Well, there's no weather event. It's just like...
It's a lightning storm. Like, it's a constant lightning storm that's just, it's been brewing for days and days and days and just triggers randomly throughout this movie.
But, like, what he was saying was beginning was not the lightning storm. The lightning storm was incidental.
You don't know that.
I do know that. You don't know that. Then we cut to the detective at the site where the werewolf killed the van driver. The body's missing. Then we cut to the swamp. The werewolf is wandering around for some reason, and he runs into Dracula and the mummy, who are just meeting up in the swamp, having a good time.
So are these the bad guys, or so kids are the good guys, right? And the monsters are probably the bad guys?
Yeah, you can but it's a pretty safe bet, even though I don't like the kids that much.
I don't know. In my head, maybe because of the title, I was like thinking that the monsters might be the good guys somehow.
Would have been a way more interesting movie if it would have been like that, or like an Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein or something.
Yeah, I'm sad that's not the direction that it's going.
It is absolutely not. So there's a regular monster party. They all walk over to the edge of the water in the swamp, and Dracula raises his cane, and water bubbles, and the crate from the plane is lifted out of the water by the creature from the Black Lagoon.
I'm so perplexed by his skills.
Dracula?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. He has, like, an amazing array of nonsensical powers in this movie. He's basically Dracula the Wizard.
Okay. I heard that's a really good musical.
I would watch that musical. Are you kidding me? Wicked did well. Why not Dracula the Wizard?
It's a winner. Call us.
But anyway, I don't know why the creature from the Black Lagoon, who is subtitled and credited as the creature from the Black Lagoon, is called Gillman in all the descriptions.
Yeah.
I guess because it's shorter.
I was going to ask if that's what it was.
So Dracula opens the box, and guess who's inside?
Who are we missing? I don't remember. In one ear, out the other.
It's Frankenstein's monster, Danielle, obviously.
Of course. I can't believe I forgot that one. I'm sorry.
Which I'm just going to call him Frankenstein because I don't have the time to say Frankenstein's monster a million times, and I don't care.
Ouch.
He's also... No, and also, he is a Frankenstein as well.
Yes, I guess, but you're not going to say a Frankenstein.
What do you mean? He is Frankenstein. He is a Frankenstein.
He is a Frankenstein.
Yeah, he is of the family name Frankenstein.
Mr. Frankenstein.
He is one of them. You have Dr. Frankenstein, you have Mr. Frankenstein, his creation.
You should call him Mr. Frankenstein the rest of it.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you, I appreciate the effort.
I'll call him Mr. Frankenstein Esquire.
Junior.
Frankenstein Jr. Okay, that's much better than Frankenstein's monster. I'm sticking with that.
Problem solved. We solved a 150-year-old dilemma.
Is that how old the book
it's pretty
book
old.
Is? Anyway, Dracula bemoans that it's been so long.
100 years.
So very long. And it's like, I can't tell. Is he in love with, like, I thought this crate had, like, the Bride of Dracula in it, like his erstwhile bride in it. But no, it's Frankenstein. But the way he treats his crate, it's like a lover.
See, I like that story better. Let's go with that.
Yeah, I'd be way more interested if like Dracula and Frankenstein were like hooking up.
Frankenstein
That'd be way
Jr.,
cool.
please.
Sorry, Dracula and Frankenstein Jr. are hooking up. I don't want to confuse everyone. So Dracula takes some clips, like the eyes from his staff come out, and they're on these long wires, and he clips them to the bolts on Frankenstein's neck, Frankenstein Jr.'s neck.
I appreciate your effort.
Yeah, it's hard. And he lifts his staff and proclaims, "Wake up, old friend, it is time!" And lightning strikes his staff, bringing Frankenstein Jr. back to life.
So he also calls upon the lightning there.
Yeah, I know. Like, he has lightning powers in now. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, as long as we've established.
He definitely has lightning powers, but the first one was like, okay, that's just movie, schmaltz happening. And then this time, like, okay, now he's got lightning powers. That's 100% lightning powers.
I think it's arguable, but I'll let it go.
And they really had to do a lot of convolutions to get all these monsters together. Like, the crate carrying Frankenstein Jr. in it, why was he in that crate to begin with? Why was Dracula flying that crate? Anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't make any sense.
Is the makeup pretty good in this movie?
Yeah, actually, the effects and makeup are pretty good.
Nice.
Except for the CGI black hole thing that sucked everyone into it at the beginning.
They were terrible. The 80s black holes and stuff were awful, CGI-wise.
Yeah. So back in Sean's house, his mom is putting his sister to bed, and she's scared of monsters coming with the lightning. And the mom assures her that it's fine and that this candle will keep the monsters away. And leaving a lit candle next to a sleeping child seems way more dangerous than monsters. Like, totally unattended behind a closed door. That's a good way to set your house on fire.
I mean, that was like everything prior to electricity, Sam.
Yeah, and a lot of places were set on fire. Candles are terrible. Anyway, we cut to Sean hearing his parents argue over his dad's workaholism. And they're like really young. And they're being like vicious with each other. Like, this is not like a calm or not even like an excited, like they clearly hate each other.
It's a shame that marriage counseling's not working out.
Well, they didn't go to it because he went to his job. So that's the last we ever hear about marriage counseling. Sean wanders over to a whiteboard with a phone message on it. It says, "From Mr. Alucard. School? ? Message. Interested in Van Halen diary. Possibly $$.
So how did they find out about the Van Halen diary?
You mean Van Helsing?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's purposely mistranscribed in the note.
Okay. I'm like, where'd I get that name from then?
Yeah, it says Van Halen because it's like, oh, his mom wrote down Van Halen.
Van Halen, I get it.
That's a question I had as well, Danielle. How did Dracula know to call Sean about the Van Helsing diary? How did he know how to use a phone?
Is there a tracker on it?
Really good. How do you know, like, even if he had a tracker, like, it's on that house, and I know the number for that house. So then Sean, for no reason whatsoever, writes Alucard in a notebook and starts doing anagrams of it.
Okay.
While his parents continue to argue. And almost immediately a rant on Dracula, because duh.
Yeah, of course.
It's just Dracula backwards. It's absolutely not a clever anagram.
It's 12, though. Good job.
So we cut to Eugene, the other kid in the Monster Club. He's waking up his dad because there's a monster in his closet. His dad opens the door to Eugene's room and is like, all right, all the monsters, out of here. Let's go. Chop, chop. And like does a little thing like, oh, see, all the monsters are gone. Do you see any more monsters? And Eugene's like, in the closet. And so dad is like, and he's being kind of sarcastic dick about this. And I think like just everybody in this movie kind of sucks.
Apparently.
And the dad throws open the closet door, not even looking inside, just throws it open. And the mummy is standing inside, but the dad doesn't see it because he doesn't look inside because he's doing a bit about like, hey, do you see any monsters in there? And Eugene's just covering his face. And he slams the door and tells Eugene, you're not sleeping with your mother and me tonight, so don't even think about it. And I'm like, why is everyone in this movie a jerk?
Maybe it's the Monster Club because their parents are terrible human beings.
The real monsters is family.
It's a metaphor, Sam.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't give this movie enough credit. Then after the dad leaves, the mummy just leaves too. Just slips out the window for no reason. I don't even know why he's in there in the first place.
That's funny.
I mean, that's the movie answer, but from the mummy's perspective, what was his motivation for coming in that kid's closet and just hiding out for like 10 minutes and leaving?
He climbed up the trellis. It was like, this seems like a good place to hang out for 10 minutes.
Oh, spooky dad, gotta go. So we cut to the clubhouse, where Sean has called everyone together and has written Monster Squad on a chalkboard. He proclaims that we're the Monster Squad, and that he thinks there are real monsters around. I'm like, weren't they already the Monster Club? Why are they now the Monster Squad? Well, it doesn't matter. He explains about the werewolf he overheard on the phone when his dad was called by the station, and the missing mummy, which he heard again from his dad, and the call from Dracula. During all of this, Ryan is taking pictures of, presumably, that poor woman through her window like a creep.
Oh, what are you doing?
Yeah, Rudy sucks. That woman is apparently Patrick's older sister, which is even worse. I mean, it's still terrible, but like,
What age
Yikes.
is she?
She's like 16,
No.
17. Yeah, she's like high school.
It's even worse.
Yeah, he's crushing on her hard. It's awful. Eugene pipes up that he saw the mummy too, and then Sean insists that something is out there killing people, and if it's monsters, then we're the only ones who can do anything about it. And I'm like, wait, what? Why? Why would you be the only ones who could or would do anything about monsters killing people?
Because they're the monster
you're
squad,
the least
Sam.
qualified people to do anything about this.
No, they're the most qualified. They have all the monster legend and lore.
Yes, because no one else in the rest of the world knows anything about monsters. We didn't all learn that when we were also 12.
Sam, they're the monster squad. They're the titular group here, the club.
You think they would at least try to, like, let somebody know who has any actual power,
Yes.
but they do not.
You think so, but that's not how kids-ish movies work.
Well, I mean, yes, I know that, Danielle, because I watched it. So when asked what they do, Sean shows them the Van Helsing diary, which his mom just found in an old house. And actually, I really want to hear that story about how she found the Van Helsing diary.
Yeah, that
That's
seems
way
like an
more
interesting story.
Yeah. Anyway, they agree to form the Monster Squad. Yay! We cut to Dracula in a dilapidated house. He walks to a statue and lifts the arm, revealing a secret passage. How did Dracula know that passage was there? Why is this house abandoned with secret passages? Did he build this house? Or did he, like, know it was here? Like, I have no idea why Dracula knows his house is secret doored or whatever. It's like he has a lot of, like, specific knowledge about this house.
I can only assume that this was like a second house in the United States that he built 100 years ago, and it's still there for reasons
I can
unknown.
100% tell you, Danielle, that is not the case. And also, I'm like, did Dracula always intend to come to this town and to this house? Because he seems very intent to be here. And if so, why did he pull that, like, stunt with the pilot where he, like, got ejected and let his box fall out?
Because
Like,
he had to fall out right where that city was, Sam.
yeah, but I mean, like, he could have just done that, or he could have just, like, why even get in the plane in the first place if he didn't charter the plane to go to where he wanted to go in the first
It
place?
was just the easiest solution. I don't know, Sam.
It's definitely not the easiest solution, Danielle. It's the most convoluted solution. So to understand his plan. So in the secret passage is a crypt where Frankenstein is being kept. Dracula gives him Frankenstein Jr. is being kept. Dracula gives him instructions. Frankenstein Jr. is to retrieve the Van Helsing diary from the children and kill them if necessary.
Ooh, that's dark.
I mean, they're monsters, Danielle.
They don't have to be monsters, Sam.
Oh, this wouldn't be monsters. Oh, monsters kill people. Well, I never. I thought they just gave them cuddles.
Again, I thought they might be the heroes at the beginning of this movie, so I'm all thrown off.
I kind of think they are, to be honest, because humanity sucks. But
We deserve to be eaten by monsters.
kinda. So the next day, the Monster Squad go to the scary German guy, who I'm just going to call it the G-Man, because
Perfect.
it's faster, in the spooky house, and because apparently there's no one else in the entire town who they think can speak German.
It's just this one person. I mean, how small is this town, Sam? It's possible.
I don't know, Daniel. It doesn't seem that small, but it varies wildly depending on what shot you see. Like an overhead shot, it looks pretty big, but like when they're in the town square, it looks tiny, which is probably the soundstage or something.
Probably the only person they know of that they know speaks German.
And I guess life was hard before the internet, and you had to like translate on the internet really easily.
That's true. Just Google.
So while they're bickering about whether to go inside, the German man appears behind them. Then we cut to Phoebe playing by the lake in that classic Frankenstein scene, as Frankenstein Jr. appears behind her. Cut back to the squad in the G-Man's house. As you might notice, Danielle, there's a lot of like quick, short scenes in this movie that like it's hard to tie any thread together. Like it's hard to focus on any one part of this movie because they're all just so quick and like cut up and interspersed with each other.
I can tell.
So we cut back to the squad in the G-Man's house, who's giving them pie because he's really nice and not scary at all.
Ooh, is it any kind of like good German pie?
It looks like cherry pie. I don't know.
Not as exciting.
No, it's not a meat pie, Danielle. That'd be awesome.
I'm there for the meat pie.
He's also reading from the Van Helsing book, like translating it live, and it looks like he's almost all the way done through the book, and it's not a small book, so how long have they been there?
They ate a lot of pie, Sam.
It looks like it.
They started with the German pies and made their way all the way to good old American cherry pie.
That's right. That's probably what happened. So this is the exposition dump of the movie where he explains, as he reads from the book, that there's an amulet that's small, intricately carved, and there's a sketch of it in the book. And according to the book, good and evil are in constant flux. And only once every 100 years are the forces truly balanced. And the amulet is concentrated good. It's indestructible and wards off evil. And I'm like, wait, is this the same gem from the opening of the movie? And if so, how did it end up in this small town?
It was in Transylvania. Yeah, I don't have an answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe when it got
that
sucked
small
in through
town
the
Danielle
hole,
was
did it
not
get
like proto-town this.
get it sucked into the black hole?
I didn't see it get sucked in the black hole. Maybe?
Maybe it got sucked into the black hole, and the black hole appeared in this tiny little hamlet.
No. because I think it's something that goes to limbo, which is what we're about to learn.
Okay. Well, I don't know, Sam. That was my only solution, and that's all I got.
The gem is somehow in the small town, and Dracula came here looking for it. But the amulet can be destroyed once every 100 years at the stroke of midnight. Midnight in what time zone? Shut up, kid. The amulet can be shattered, allowing evil to rule. But to stop the forces of darkness, you can use the amulet in a ceremony to open up a hole into limbo itself, which will swallow the forces of evil forever. Also, guess when the 100th day is specifically, Danielle?
Halloween.
No, it's tomorrow.
Oh, I was close.
Shocking. It's always tomorrow, Danielle. Always the big day. It's always the day after
it's always
they learn about
within 3 days. Yes, we know.
Yeah, every time. I like to point out at this point that Dracula had never called Sean as Mr. Alucard, he probably would not have gotten suspicious and would not have formed the Monster Squad and had this urgency about it and would have just let Dracula win, because Dracula doesn't need the diary. The diary is irrelevant to Dracula's plan.
Well, I have an answer.
This is another instance like in The Librarian.
It reminds me of The Librarian.
Where having no plan would be better than the plan they come up with.
If monsters would only learn both human form and movie form.
So as they're leaving, the G-Man spouts some facts about vampires. Like, oh, you think I was a vampire? But look, I have a reflection. And the kids are like, oh, you sure know a lot about monsters. And the G-Man says, I suppose I do. And then as he closes the door, Cameron zooms in on his arm and he has a concentration camp number tattooed there.
See? Monsters are humans.
And this movie has not earned a Holocaust reference, Danielle.
That was quite the suggestion right there.
No, this movie, and it's like the only reference they make to it. I'm like, why? This is not appropriate for this goofy, kind of terrible movie, with a bunch of terrible people in it. Anyway, I thought that was just incredibly poor taste.
It was. Agreed.
Anyway, back with the Monster Squad, Sean concludes that Dracula is in this town looking for the amulet, and he makes a bunch of other leaps of logic, because what they need is a virgin to read the magic incantation at midnight while holding the amulet, and then they win.
I was going to ask if the 14-year-old girl from the beginning of the movie, I was like, I wonder if she's a virgin.
Yeah, that's what they needed.
Yep, I figured.
And so then why did Van Helsing fail at the beginning? Why did his reading of the incantation, the amulet, it seemed to work, the portal opened, why did he fail?
Yes, I wondered that as well.
It's not clear why he failed, because by all accounts, he did everything right and should have won.
Maybe it was just the wrong timing. Maybe it was the wrong time zone, Sam.
Give it the wrong time zone, Danielle. That's probably the answer.
I feel like that should happen in more movies. It's always midnight or whatever to the time zone you're in. And just once, wouldn't you like to have been oh, you missed it. It was 9 hours ago. It was actually this completely separate city in Peru time zone.
Yeah, that'd be great. You take the countdown timer. We have 3 seconds. Oh, we just made it. You're guys, it blew up 7 hours ago. It's over.
That'd be great.
Anyway, they go back to the clubhouse, and Phoebe comes running up and introduces them to Frankenstein Jr. The squad promptly runs away and hides in the garden, but Phoebe assures them that he's friendly. Sean immediately is taken with Frankenstein Jr. and invites him to join them in the clubhouse to hang out.
Is Frankenstein Jr. going to be the cool one?
Yeah, he is.
I knew it.
Frankenstein Jr. also starts to perv on Patrick's sister through the window with the camera that's up on a tripod.
More of it. Gosh.
Yeah. And she just seems to be perpetually changing in front of this window, because no matter what time of day they're up there, middle of the day, evening, she's just constantly topless or whatever, and they're taking pictures of her.
Didn't you know that girls change their clothes 8 times a day, Sam?
Man, if I had known that, I wouldn't change anything, because I'm not a freaking privacy-invading perv.
I would not have changed anything about your teenagehood.
No, because I respect people's privacy, Danielle, and their right to self-autonomy. I don't treat women like objects.
That's true, everybody does.
And I'm just okay, cool. And then Frankenstein Jr. sees a mask of himself and has a moment of self-doubt about being scared. He's scary? And they're oh, and they give him a chip or something.
So he talks like Frankenstein normally talks, like Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure since Dracula over there was talking like a normal dude.
No, I think Phoebe mentioned she teaches him to talk. And so he spouts a bunch of slang, which I will not bother with because it's not funny.
Okay.
And then we see him with all the kids holding hands, walking off into the sunset. Oh. What the hell is this movie, Danielle?
That seems like the end of the movie.
I don't know why. Suddenly they're just walking off into the sunset with Frankenstein Jr.
Because it's cool.
All right. It's night again, back at the spooky mansion. Dracula and the werewolf, who is still a werewolf despite it being the next day.
Okay. Is that how that works?
It's only during the full moon. The full moon's only one day a month, right?
Yes.
So it seems like it's been a full day. Like it was daylight when they went to see the German guy, and then it became night again. So it had to be a full day because it was night when the werewolf transformed last time.
Maybe it's more like some werewolf lore, like they turn around the full moon. There's like a whole period at that time. Where
Maybe that's it, Danielle. But either way, time in this movie is very slipshod.
I can tell.
So Dracula and the werewolf are prowling around. Dracula searching for the amulet, and which he senses very near. He eventually goes up to a stone wall, and he grabs a tiny little hammer, and he busts a hole through it and looks through, and he sees the amulet sitting there in a treasure cave with like gravestones and swords and stuff. Like, why is there a treasure cave under this house in this random suburban town in America? It's like the Goonies house kind of thing. Like, what? What's going on?
Yeah, that's special. Maybe they sent it all off after everything went down 100 years ago, and this is where they put it.
Yeah, but like Dracula was still there. Why didn't he just pick up the amulet again?
I don't know. We don't know what happened in the 100 years, Sam.
That's a good point, I guess. The next morning, the squad gets up and has a school montage set to a killer's 80s soundtrack because, 80s movie.
Yeah, of course. That's the whole point.
We see them making things like stakes in the wood shop and silver bullets in metal shop. And I'm like, wait, silver bullets?
I think it's a silver.
I mean, I know how you make silver. Like, they melt down some forks to make the bullets. But I'm like, A, you have molds. B, you have like gunpowder and casings. And like, they let that happen? Like, the teacher's like, oh yeah, make a bullet. Like, that's incredibly dangerous and not very easy to do.
Definitely was not happening, not even in 1987 schools.
No, absolutely not. Anyway, Phoebe is playing with Frankenstein Jr. Eugene writes a note to the army asking for them to come because of monsters.
Dear Army.
That's exactly what it says. Dear Army men, please come monsters. That's basically what it says. Patrick prints out a bunch of Monster Squad business cards for some reason, because that seems like the most important thing.
To his fellow students.
Nope, he doesn't hand out to anyone. He just prints them out, it looks like.
You know what? He's business-minded. I bet he's going to go far in life.
And then Rudy steals a bow and arrow from gym class.
Yeah.
He also develops the photos he took of Patrick's sister undressing and shares them with Frankenstein and the rest of the kids.
Oh.
Because he's awful.
Yeah, what a creeper.
Oh, it's only going to get worse.
Oh, no.
So the montage ends, and we cut to Dracula, who is talking to the werewolf, who's in his human form, again, because it's daylight, but is tied up, presumably because he's only evil when a werewolf, but when a human, Dracula doesn't have any power over him or something. I don't know.
So it's just like a normal person during the...
Yeah.
Does he feel bad about killing that one driver?
Oh, yeah. He's like, this is terrible. This is not good.
Oh, that's sad.
Dracula then goes to a closet where he's locked 3 women who he eats.
There's just
So he
3.
gets a little snack.
There's 3 women in the closet.
There's 3 women in a closet. Where'd he get those women, Danielle? I don't know.
That's
no
so
one seems to care that they're missing.
creepy.
So then the werewolf guy manages to escape while Dracula's occupied. We then cut to Sean's dad, who's in the police station, when the werewolf calls is like, hey, I'm the guy that they shot last night. So I think this movie skipped a whole night, apparently.
Okay, back up. Dracula somehow has like power over these other characters?
He's like the monster, like head honcho, and everyone like listens to him.
Because they have to? What happens if they don't?
I have no idea, Danielle, but like, why is the werewolf listening to him only when he's a werewolf? When he's not a werewolf, he's like, I'm not dealing with that guy.
Because he's not a monster then? I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
Seems like he has some kind of pull, like literal pull, if they're in monster form.
It sounds like he has like a compulsion he can exert.
Well, that would at least fall in line with actual canon for vampires, so at least that's something, unlike all the rest of the nonsense. One power that is
legitimate for vampires, for him. Anyway, so he calls it out at the police station. He's like, I'm the guy they shot last night, which would have been 2 nights ago by my recollection, but I have no idea what's happening. And he's like, you need to get to this address to stop him. He's found the amulet, and I'm a werewolf. And Sean's dad's like, whatever, guy. He's about to hang up because apparently he's the worst detective ever.
But the guy's missing and he killed somebody.
Yeah, he's like, whatever, dude, about to hang up. And then as the werewolf is transforming, because it's night again, apparently, he manages to spit out, he's going to kill your son! And then hulks out as a werewolf and breaks through the phone booth.
How does he know about his son?
I have no idea, Danielle. Why does Dracula tell the werewolf sidekick, like, hey, by the way, I'm trying this whole plan going with Frankenstein Jr. over there. We're trying to lure these kids over here so I can steal the Van Helsing book and maybe kill them. Yeah, but you don't need to worry about that.
How do they know that the kid's after them?
No. Dracula wants the kids because he wants the book. So Dracula's after the kids. He doesn't know the kids are after them. Dracula's after the kids.
So he knows the kids have the book.
Yeah, remember he called with the message as Alucard?
Yeah, but how did he know that the kids found out about it?
He doesn't.
Well, then how is he after the kids?
Dracula's after the kids because they have the book.
Right, but how does he know that they have the book? Because maybe I missed it, where he figured out that they figured out that he was Dracula.
What? Okay, well, let's stop using pronouns. Dracula knows the kids have the book because he called and left a message for Sean saying, hey, I want to buy that book from you.
Yeah, but so he left it for Sean because it's technically Sean's book, not for like the parents in the house. He like said, hey, 12-year-old, I want to buy your book.
Well, yeah, he knows that Sean has the book.
Okay. I, for some reason, was thinking that was like more directed towards the parents who, own the things in the house.
No,
but okay.
the message was for
I'm there.
Sean.
I'm with you.
Mr. Alucard, school.
Yeah, I got sidetracked by the 12,000 other things that were happening in that scene, Sam.
Yeah, you got it, Danielle. I'm just saying, how does Dracula, we went over this. We don't know how Dracula knows they have the book. He just does. He's magic or something.
I didn't realize it's for Sean specifically. I am sure you said that.
Anyway, the point is, the werewolf was like, he's after your son. He's going to kill him. Busts out of the phone booth. And finally the dad's like, maybe I should pay attention to this lead.
It would have been funnier if he was just like, I'm sure it's fine. Good parenting all around.
Oh, he's the worst. We cut to the Monster Squad. They have walkie-talkies. Patrick and Rudy are creeping on Patrick's sister. They're stalking her.
Is that literally all they do?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know.
So Patrick and Rudy are stalking Patrick's sister, who's on a date, while Sean and Horace and Eugene are out in the woods. Eugene drops something in the lake, and the creature from the Black Lagoon pops out.
Is the creature in the Black Lagoon tied to the water, like they can't leave the water for very long?
Unclear.
Okay.
I don't think it is, but maybe. It doesn't matter because that's pretty much all we see of him. He pops out, Eugene goes, oh, creature of the Black Lagoon, and then nothing ever comes of it.
Okay.
We cut back to Rudy and Patrick, who have somehow convinced his sister to come to the Monster Club treehouse. They awkwardly ask her if she's a virgin. And she's rightly offended by this. And I thought at this point, I'm like, wait a minute, does the virgin have to be a girl? That's obviously like presumption. Like, get any one of them. They're all virgins.
Yes,
they can all read from
all.
the book. Yeah, but they're in the sexist mindset that it has to be a girl virgin
Obviously, because that's how movies work.
Yeah.
Follow-up question to the creature of the Black Lagoon.
Oh, okay, sure. We're back to this.
Sorry, the creature of the Black Lagoon, it wasn't brought from anywhere, right? It just lived in that lake?
Yeah, it just lived there. It was just chilling out in that swamp, apparently.
This area has a high concentration of monsters.
Monsters per capita? Yeah, it's crazy. Most monsters per capita of any town in America. And they put it on their, travel brochures.
Hey, we draw a certain clientele.
Yeah, apparently these kids and Dracula.
All right, okay, I'll go on.
So she's really put off by them and their terrible questions. But Rudy then shows her the photos he took of her and is like, it'd be a shame if I posted these up on the bulletin board in the school. It basically blackmails her about releasing her nudes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he literally blackmails her with not just her nudes that she took herself or whatever, but illicit photos he took of her.
That's so wrong and creepy.
And this is the point where I'm like, are the heroes in this movie intentionally just the worst people? Is this a satire of 80s where they, lift up these kinds of characters as the ladies' man or the wacky characters from Revenge of the Nerds or whatever? Are they supposed to be lampooning this or are they just awful?
I just for some reason did not expect, I expected her to be kind of a part of the story, but not for some reason did not expect her to be this part of the story. And that's funny because I was like, well, they're all virgins. They can do it.
Yeah, no, but they insist on blackmailing Patrick's sister to do it with her nude photos instead because they're awful people.
I did not expect and I do not like.
No, I get this is an 80s comedy and there was a lot of awful stuff in a lot of 80s comedy movies just because it was the time period of the screwball comedy and things like that, but not okay.
Ugh, gross.
And this is a PG-13 tween movie and ugh.
Don't like that.
No, it is probably the worst part of the movie.
They are the Monster Squad.
Yeah. Anyway, so that happened. Back in the woods, Sean, Horace, and Eugene are scoping out the house, Dracula's house, with Frankenstein Jr. The creature from the Black Lagoon is just forgotten, so who cares about that guy?
I feel so bad for them.
The creature from the Black Lagoon? Yeah, don't worry. They make another appearance briefly.
Well, that's good, I guess. They're my favorite character.
Clearly, because you know the least about them.
Always.
Every time you can pick out Daniel's favorite character by the one that has the least amount of screen time.
I also like Frankenstein Jr. thus far.
Okay. So they all go up to the house. We cut to the inside where Dracula has shoved some dynamite into the hole in the wall between him and the treasure room, which seems just unnecessary when he could just use that tiny hammer to bash the rest of the wall. It took 4 seconds to make the hole in the first place.
Or lightning. I don't know.
But apparently he had to wait several hours or a whole day or something and then use dynamite to do it instead of just spending a few hours or a few minutes with the hammer to do it.
Go big or go home, Sam.
I guess. So the squad sneak into the house. Horace is scared, but Sean reassures him that Frankenstein Jr. is on their side. And also his dad's a cop, so no one's going to mess with them.
So they're at the house where Dracula is?
Yeah.
How did they get there?
Frankenstein probably showed them. Frankenstein Jr. probably showed them the way.
Okay, I forgot. I was like, wait a minute.
And that's when the dynamite goes off and parts of the house collapse on Frankenstein Jr. And Sean's like, nope, he's dead, but we should press on.
Did Frankenstein Jr. really die?
Maybe. That's when the werewolf jumps out at them and is promptly kicked in the nards by Horace as they all run away. So as they run away, they bust into a room and find the three women who are now vampires after Dracula had his little snack.
So he's just like turning people into vampires for funsies?
Well, I mean, that's a great way to build up your ranks. I mean, it's not a bad idea.
It's not. I was just wondering if that was part of his plan, was to create more vampires.
Well, just those three, apparently. Cornered between them and the werewolf and Dracula, who has also appeared, the kids pull a random statue and a trapdoor opens and they disappear through it.
How do they know?
Nope, they don't. He's just like, oh, you gotta pull everything, because don't you see movies? There's always a trapdoor on the statue if you pull on something.
That's not true.
I mean, it's true in movies. It shouldn't be true in real life, Danielle. It's not a thing that happens.
But we already established this is a very movie-like movie.
It is it is a movie, Danielle. I can't deny that. So we cut to a diner. Rudy is there with Patrick and his sister, who is still not very happy to be there for obvious reasons, but Sean and the others have not shown up. Back in the mansion, Sean and the rest of the squad fell right into the treasure room. How convenient that this trapdoor in this house Dracula has been around for the last several days has a trapdoor that goes right into the treasure room. Dracula knew about the other trapdoor, but not this one, apparently.
Where else would a trapdoor go to, Sam?
The same place the other trapdoor went to.
Why would you have two trapdoors to the same place? That's just nonsense.
This movie didn't give us nonsense. It's a bucket of convenience atop a lot of awful children.
It is very weird that Dracula knew about one but not the other.
Exactly. And so Sean just goes up and grabs the amulet and then is promptly accosted by Dracula, who somehow, I guess the wall is blown open now so he can get in there. Fortunately, Horace brought garlic, or looks like garlic mace, whatever. He shoves it in Dracula's face, or sprays it in Dracula's face, and they all escape.
Garlic mace.
It looks like garlic. It's like a cloud of spray comes up, and he could just be like crushing garlic with his hands or something. I don't know.
This might just throw little beads of garlic at him.
He might as well.
Power of Christ. Throwing garlic at him.
I guess it's part of vampire lore. I don't know, Daniel, how it works, but it works because they escape. So as they run outside, a Jeep pulls up, and Phoebe is with the G-Man in the Jeep.
A little backup.
Yeah. Immediately after that, Rudy...
How do they know about this place?
Good question.
Frankenstein Jr. again?
I don't know. I'm sure Sean told the others, and probably Phoebe overheard.
Okay, let's go with that.
Because she's always hanging around. I like how you're like, oh, I can totally accept that the marriage counseling and other stuff. But the fact that they all know where to meet up, that is something I will not accept in this movie.
You told me to be more present in the story and ask pertinent questions, Sam.
I know. I just find it ironic what you choose or choose not to question.
I can't tell you what my brain decides to focus on.
So anyway, the G-Man appears, and then shortly after, Rudy, Patrick, and Patrick's sister also appear on their bikes. How coincidental. They all show up at the exact same time. Sean produces the ambulance and says they need to go somewhere where there are lots of people so they'll be safe. And Gene suggests a church. And once you know it, the G-Man knows of one right down the street.
Why would that be safe?
Why would a church even be occupied at this time of night?
Well, that also, but why also would it be safe with more people? Wouldn't that just put more people in danger?
I know. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Like, oh yeah, but you'll be safe in a church because, monsters don't like religious things. Whatever. Yeah, that kind of argument. So we cut to Sean's dad. He's coming out of the police station with the other detective. The detective is dubious that Patrick's dad is trying to check on this thing. He's like, we don't need to check on this. Why are you even bothering? Werewolves? The guy got a threat on the phone, claiming to be the guy who you can't find, and is threatening his son, there's a threat against his son, and you're like, we don't need to investigate that. You're mocking him for investigating this. You're the worst detective and a terrible person.
This entire city is terrible, but did the dad not call home to check on his kid?
No, he just busts out the car. He's going to drive to that house that he got from the werewolf.
Oh, okay.
Everyone in this movie sucks, Danielle.
Clearly.
Back with the squad, they're barreling down the road in G-Man's Jeep when the mummy steps out in front of them in the middle of the road and the G-Man swerves to miss hitting it.
Just hit it. It's already dead.
Well, somehow, him swerving around it allows the mummy to hop onto the back of the Jeep.
Yeah, that's how that works.
And so the mummy's clawing at them from the back of the Jeep. There's a struggle, but then Rudy ties a bit of the mummy's bandage to an arrow and fires the arrow, which sticks into a tree, causing the mummy to unravel as the Jeep drives off.
What is underneath the mummy wrap?
Bones. It's just dead.
It's just dead. Is it not living if it's not wrapped?
Apparently, it's just gone. It's the last issue of The Mummy. It's gone.
Okay.
Donezo.
Well, that was much faster than anticipated. I thought there'd be more like the monsters teaming up, and that seems to be one-on-one and quickly dying.
No, the monsters are irrelevant as a group, and there's only like 15 minutes left of this movie at this point.
Crazy.
And it's going fast and loose with what's happening.
This movie is nothing what I imagined it would be.
Yeah, me too. A lot more time spent on children creeping on their neighbors and violating their autonomy and privacy, and a lot less monster squatting.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting choice.
Anyway, as the mummy becomes unwrapped, Rudy quips, "See you later, Band-Aid breath," which is... It just sucks as a snappy comeback. I'm sorry. That's a worst one-liner ever.
What does a Band-Aid breath smell like?
Also, it's not Band-Aids. It's a whole...
yes.
The mouth is one part that's not covered in bandages. Anyway, Dracula's hearse is barely down the road, and it passes, or actually drives through, the police car with his dad and the detective in it, and so they turn around and follow Dracula as Dracula pulls up to Sean's house. Dracula gets out of his hearse, and he just brings a bundle of dynamite with him.
Back it up. Where is all this dynamite coming from?
Now I'm about to say, one of his lesser-known powers apparently is dynamite.
He can call upon lightning, which creates the dynamite.
Dracula just like, I like two things, sucking blood and dynamite.
There's a lot of dynamite in this movie.
There's so much dynamite, and Dracula, the all-powerful Prince of Darkness, uses dynamite instead of his vampire powers just so much.
Just delights him, Sam.
So he lights the bundle of dynamite and chucks it into the clubhouse and blows it up, and it's like meeting adjourned or club dismissed or something. And it's like, geez, really, we're doing this?
That's funny. It's the best line.
Dracula's probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. Because he's like so serious and he's got like the chiseled jaw. It's great.
Are any of these characters played by like noted actors?
I don't remember. I didn't look it up.
I was going to say, because you didn't mention a single actor name, which is odd for us. Usually we do a little cast bio.
None of the names were that familiar to me.
Okay.
Let me put it that way. But that doesn't say
I
much.
was just curious. Yeah, maybe I'll look it up and I'll go, what? You don't know any of these people?
I mean, totally possible. Probably know them, just don't know their names. Anyway, after the treehouse blows up and everything's on fire, Sean's dad pulls up and levels his gun at Dracula. Dracula is unperturbed by this. What do you think Dracula does with all his vast array of Dracula powers?
Throw some dynamite at him.
Absolutely.
Oh!
Dracula tosses another stick of dynamite under the police car, blows it up, and just stands there as Sean's dad shoots him, which does nothing.
Oh yeah, it's not silver bullets.
And then Dracula says, "I will have your son," and then turns into a bat and flies off.
That's impressive.
So yeah, Dracula really showing off his skills of blowing stuff up
and taking on 12-year-olds.
Yeah, right? So then Sean's dad rushes inside looking for the kids. He's like, Sean, are you here? I'm like, oh, now you want to check on them.
Yeah, didn't call your wife to check in and see if they were home.
She's clearly freaking out too, because their house is just assaulted by a monster with dynamite. But then Sean's dad finds a walkie-talkie and gets a hold of Sean on it and is like, what's going on? And Sean says, we're almost to town square. Hurry up. And that's apparently all his dad needs to go join them in the town square.
I mean, he just had a murder attempt with some dynamite by a guy dressed as a vampire. Wouldn't you quickly go to town square too?
I mean, I might say, hey, maybe don't go to town square or tell me what the hell's going on.
Yes. But time is of the essence, Sam.
I mean, they're in a walkie-talkie in a Jeep. He has time.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, the monster squad pulls up to the church, but it's locked, and they can't get in, so the whole church idea is irrelevant.
It's the middle of the night.
And so they decide just to do the ceremony out in the street.
Oh yeah, I mean, maybe that's hollow ground.
It might be, who knows? But oh no, the vampire ladies show up and are slowly approaching them, because
like
ambiance,
shuffling slowly, or like just walking slowly?
Like walking slowly, like stalking up to them.
For fun.
So they quickly get Patrick's sister to start reading from the book, but she's struggling with the German, and the G-man is helping her. So Rudy steps out with his bow in the middle of the street and just shoots one of the vampire ladies in the heart, killing her.
Do they ever get into where these three ladies came from? Like, are there three missing persons in the city or anything?
Nope. Nobody seems to care. Just 3 women were killed and no one cares.
So sad.
And then Rudy just sort of stands around there as another one of the women approaches and grabs him around the neck and starts strangling him. But then he stabs her with another arrow stake too. So, yay. And then we never see what happens to the third woman. She just, I guess, is presumed dead.
Poor Lisbeth, Mary Ellen, and Joanne.
No, those were not good names, Danielle. They sound like little women.
That's actually because I was reading something earlier about the little woman. I'm sure that's where my brain went.
Yeah, very good, Danielle. Glad that happened. At this point, Dracula as a bat swoops down, but just in time, Sean's dad shows up and starts shooting at the bat, which causes it to veer off into a building.
Okay, question. Why, as a police officer or an adult human, would you ever show up to something and then just shoot at a random bat?
Because he thinks it's Dracula, because he saw Dracula turn into a bat.
So he's like, that must be Dracula again. Not just a bat that happens to be the neighborhood.
It could be, but I mean, better safe than sorry. What's the consequence? Oh, I've killed a regular bat. I guess better safe than sorry, Danielle.
I guess. But he got on board the monster train very quickly.
Well, he saw the man turn into a bat right in front of him after he shot him 7 times. Like, not much train left to get off of. Inside the building, Sean's dad is looking around for Dracula, and we see Dracula there in a state of half bat, like he's half transformed, and he's writhing in pain, which is odd, since the bullets didn't seem to affect him before.
Maybe he changed them out for silver bullets. Is he part costumed? No. What is, like, is he tiny on one side, human on the other?
No, it's just like, it's like a human bat hybrid, it looks like.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's gross, and never brought up again.
But the bat's normally small, right, when it turns into a full bat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. How odd.
So the dad approaches, and guess what he's got, Danielle?
Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yes! Love this.
Some reason, everyone in this movie is like, no, dynamite, that seems like something I can use.
I don't, there's gotta be boxes of it lying around somewhere.
I don't know where he got it. Like, it wasn't like Dracula left dynamite, like, here, have some more.
Maybe this city used to mass produce it in the early 1900s.
Or maybe he stole it from Dracula's car or something. I don't know.
I'd like to think so.
Anyway, so Sean's dad approaches with dynamite, but is attacked by the werewolf before he can do anything with it.
Oh no!
Which is when Sean shows up, shoves a stick of dynamite down the werewolf's pants, and then kicks it out a window. So then the werewolf blows up, scattering its chunks everywhere.
The monsters in this movie die so interestingly.
And they're really ineffective monsters. They were not a threat. Like, I still don't know why Van Helsing failed at the start of this movie, because if these children, these terrible, terrible children, seem capable of fighting these monsters off, why did Van Helsing have any trouble?
I have no idea. I'm a little disappointed that Van Helsing has not come back into the picture.
I know. You really think he played a bigger part in this than just something the diary
really
behind?
Thought that somehow they would be, like, the German guy would die in.
Nope. He's just a random German Holocaust survivor for some reason.
Give this movie some depth, Sam.
Yeah, a lot of depth that it really needed. In between the, sexual blackmail and the homophobia, get the Holocaust depth in this movie.
87 was a bad year.
Clearly. Meanwhile, Patrick and the G-Man are trying to get his sister to read the text correct. Like, everyone's panicking. Like, read it. He's like, I'm trying. But at the same time, the werewolf is reassembling itself, like in Terminator 2.
Why? Oh, no.
Because you can only kill a werewolf with a silver bullet. Blood up apparently just doesn't do the trick.
I don't know.
It just goes like, zoop, and like comes back together.
Well, how is Frankenstein Jr. dead?
Well, apparently he's not a werewolf, Danielle.
This is very questionable.
So cops pull up. Apparently all the dynamite drew their attention. And as the werewolf is about to attack Rudy, they shoot the werewolf. And nothing happens because apparently dynamite can't do something. Bullets sure won't.
Yeah, no,
and they all start fighting the werewolf. And then Patrick's sister finishes reading, but nothing happens. And it comes out, oh, she's not really a virgin technically. Uh-oh.
Technically? What? There's like...
I mean, what she says, like, well, there's Steve, but he doesn't count. And I'm like, there's more to that story, but we don't get that story.
They really should have picked their virgins better.
Yeah, right. And everyone's like, oh no, what will we do? And then Rudy watches the werewolf fight cops.
If only we weren't all virgins.
I know, it's very stupid. One of the cops gets thrown next to Rudy unconscious, maybe dead. I don't know. And then Rudy steals the gun from the cop, empties out the chamber, and puts his silver bullet inside of it.
Well, good.
Because apparently the silver bullet he made in Metal Shop just fits this random revolver perfectly. Is the right caliber and everything, and has the right, I don't know. This is nonsense. He then shoots the werewolf saying, bang, because Rudy, super good at one-liners.
You can tell. He's got some good ones in this movie.
And then the werewolf turns back into a regular dude, is like, thanks, before dying.
Well, at least he got a double death.
Yes. Well, he got one death. The other death was a fake death. So Sean and his dad approach, and apparently they just left Dracula in the warehouse as a half-bat thing, and they're like, well, we blew up the werewolf, so I think we're good here.
Get him while he's down? No, they're just going to leave him there.
They're like, oh, Dracula's down. We'll just deal with that later. I'm sure it's fine.
Chop off his head.
The horse is also there. Everyone just sort of gathers up. But then a manhole cover flies up, and up pops the creature from the Black Lagoon.
No! Who can travel the sewer systems from his lake?
Apparently. And then he starts fighting the cops because okay? Then we go back to Eugene and the G-Man, who realize that there are other virgins present, actually.
Yeah, like 2/3 of the cast.
Nope. They settle on Phoebe, the 5-year-old child.
I don't know why.
Because she's a girl, Danielle, and
It
apparently
does
only
not say a
girls can be
female
virgins.
virgin.
This movie is so sexist.
That is wild.
It's so dumb. It's not like, okay, maybe they realized they were wrong to single out, Patrick's sister, who does not get a name in this movie, by the way. She's just Patrick's sister.
That's depressing, too.
Yeah, they were wrong to single her out as like, oh, only she can be a virgin. Like, oh, maybe we should have stepped up. But nope, they settle on the 5-year-old girl instead because boys can't be virgins.
It's wild.
Anyway, the G-Man starts helping Phoebe start to stumble through the text. Like, he starts saying the words and she is repeating him.
Right.
Meanwhile, the creature from the Black Lagoon murders some cops, and then Horace wrestles a shotgun from a dead cop's hand. And apparently he turns to run from the creature and tries to hide inside a store. But the store is locked because the bullies from the start of the movie are in that store.
Oh, they do return. I forgot they even existed.
Why are the bullies from the beginning locked in a random store in the middle of the night in this town?
What?
I don't know, Danielle, what they are.
Well, they either locked it because of all the stuff going on in the inside, or they are...
Well, yeah, they did, but why are they down there in the first place? Everything's closed.
They were stealing, Sam, obviously.
They were stealing. Okay, sure. That's not what it looks like, I'll be honest. So Horace tries to break in, but the bullies from the store, they don't open the door. So he just turns around and shoots the creature from the Black Lagoon. And he's like, done. Another monster down.
It died?
That's it. That's all again.
Oh my
it has
goodness.
3 seconds of total screen time, pretty much. So, unless you're keeping track, Frankenstein crushed by some falling
I'm
drywall.
still upset about that one.
Werewolf shot with a bullet after being blown up. Mummy unraveled by a car and a bow and arrow. So these monsters just are not particularly effective.
No, they are not. Except for Dracula, who somehow stayed out of this whole thing, but now is half bat, half human.
Well, meanwhile, the G-Man is telling Phoebe how to say the incantation. When Dracula appears, just regular Dracula, the whole half bat, half human thing just doesn't matter.
Well, he had a heal
And he's wreathed in lightning because, again, lightning powers.
that he never uses, but I guess now he has to because he's got rid of all his dynamite.
So he slowly approaches Phoebe, batting cops aside left and right along the way. And as he gets close, the G-Man stands between him and Phoebe, and Dracula shoots a beam of light from his hand at him. Not lightning, just like a beam of light, like a death ray.
What?
Knocking him down.
So many powers.
And this is when I wrote, when did Dracula get wizard powers? But apparently he's always had, it's definitely Dracula wizard.
This is definitely where he breaks into his big musical number too, right before he's killed, right?
Oh, that'd be so much better.
This would be better as a musical.
It would absolutely be better as a musical. So he slowly approaches Phoebe, and he lifts her up by the chin, like just lifts her all the way up, is like, give me the amulet. And like, Phoebe's mom wants to rush over there and help her, but Sean and his dad are like, no! Don't do that. Like, hold her back. Like, why? Why hold her back? Why are you not attacking Dracula? Why are you trying to save your sister?
She's got to finish the incantation, Sam.
How could she do that when she's being held by
I have
Dracula?
no idea.
But apparently they're just like content to watch this happen. But luckily, Frankenstein Jr. shows up,
Yay!
grabs Dracula from behind and tosses him up, and he lands and is impaled on the pointy part of a fence, like a fence stake.
That's crazy. But also, why is Frankenstein Jr. not tied in like the Wolfman is to Dracula?
Apparently he just befriended the kids. That was enough for him to overcome the compulsion.
The power
I don't know.
of love.
Walking off into the sunset with the kids really did a number for him, I
I
guess.
can tell. So he's stabbed on a fence post. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt Dracula's dramatic
It's
death.
through his stomach, though, or like it doesn't kill him. It's not through his heart.
Oh, okay.
So the G-Man gets up and helps Phoebe finish the incantation. The black hole opens up and sucks in a bunch of random stuff. Detritus, the G-Man's Jeep, which is sad.
Aw.
And as Dracula's being pulled towards it, he spitefully grabs Sean as they're then both dragged towards the portal. It's like, I'm going to take you with me. Sean, however, manages to grab a conveniently placed stake and stab Dracula and escape. And then Van Helsing appears, Danielle.
What? Why? From where? The hole?
Don't know. Maybe he was in the portal. And he grabs Dracula around the shoulders, like from behind.
I've got you now!
He gives a thumbs up to Sean and he like pulls Dracula back into the portal.
Where they've all been staying. That poor 14-year-old who got sucked into the portal.
Yeah. And then Dracula screams like, no, and is sucked in.
So the portal only took Dracula, right?
No. It's taking all of the evil and a bunch of other random stuff.
All the evil of the world.
I don't know. It just says evil.
Like, you see other things being sucked in that are evil?
I mean, about to, because Frankenstein Jr. is being sucked towards the portal.
Frankenstein Jr. is not evil.
He has a sad goodbye with Phoebe, but he's sucked into limbo as well.
Oh, Oh, that's so sad.
The black hole shrinks and closes. Everyone gets up, brushes themselves off. Sean and his family hug. I guess there are no more marital problems between his dad and his mom. Everyone's just happy.
The sucking in thing, it took all the evil out, Sam.
You got me there, Danielle. Workaholism, no longer a thing.
Their marriage is reunited by the power of the evil monster sucking thing.
I still don't know why they didn't work for Van Helsing in the beginning. Like, clearly it's the exact same portal. It just should have worked.
Maybe she wasn't a virgin either.
Well, then it wouldn't have opened in the first place.
Maybe it just, like, turned it, like, wrong. Like, it started to open, and then they're like, no.
Well, if it didn't work for Patrick's sister...
Maybe she was less of a virgin. I don't know, Sam.
No. Anyway, a tank rolls into the square with a bunch of soldiers, and the army troopers show up, and they ask, hey, what's this about monsters? We got a letter from Eugene.
No.
Yep. Sean steps up and says, I can explain what's going on here, and he passes them a business card for the Monster Squad.
Oh, he had to use his cards.
He's like, we're the Monster Squad. And he high-fives his friends as custom 80s rap plays over the credits.
Wow, Sam.
Wait. We're not done yet, because I'm going to read you the lyrics to this rap song.
Okay, I'm here for this. Let's do this.
I'm going to read you the lyrics. I'm going to do the first verse, because it's all you need. And I'm going to do it with about as much skill as the person rapping it in the movie.
Looking forward to this.
So it goes. Every 100 years in the darkest night, the forces of evil come out to fight. The amulet they must destroy or spend forever in the darkest void. Who can stop their deadly might? Who will stand up for the right? From the mouths of babe come dynamite. The Monster Squad is gonna groove tonight.
Really felt like I should beatbox in the background of that.
I cannot recommend this rap highly enough.
It's like, we're gonna YouTube.
Absolutely, you're gonna post this to our Twitter.
Wow, that's just
that's the Monster Squad, Danielle.
The best thing we've ever added to Spook Retorts.
I don't know if that's true. I think it might be. Look, there is a large and vehement fan base for this movie.
No, I'm sure there is, for reasons.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a terrible movie, but boy, lots of this movie has not aged well, and probably was not great when it was made.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating.
Also, the monsters were the most interesting part of this movie, but they got the least attention.
Yeah, that was I just expected there to be a lot more about the monsters.
Yeah, like maybe they synergized in some way, but nope, they just sort of die one by one.
Or, like even some kind of like background stories. Like, I don't know. It's just such a potentially interesting premise.
Why are Dracula and Frankenstein friends? Or Frankenstein Jr. friends?
Right, that's so weird.
No reason. They're just like, well, Frankenstein Jr. and Dracula, just best buddies until Frankenstein Jr. portrays Dracula after the power of friendship with some random kids.
Pretty instantaneously, too.
Yeah, no, it is a movie, Danielle. It exists. It's a thing. And I'm so happy we kicked off Spook Retorts with The Monster Squad.
Yeah, good choice. Good choice.
Boy, do I have questions about this movie. My biggest question is, if anyone can explain to me why the movie wasn't over in the first 5 minutes, what did Van Helsing do wrong that didn't work?
I have that same question. I'd love to know.
Yeah, please solve this for us. Or if you know the name of Patrick's sister, because she did not get one spoken at any point in the movie that I could tell.
Shelby.
She probably has one in the credits, Danielle. I just didn't look. Yeah, if you have any of that information, or if you want to correct me on monster lore or my lack of appreciation for the Monster Squad, you can reach us at bookretorts.com.
Or if you want to put together a cool video of, or a little music video of Sam rapping that last little bit, we would love to hear that. And you can send that to Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at Book Retorts.
Well, if you want more nonsense and you feel like my rapping wasn't bad enough, you can always support us on Patreon at patreon.com/bookretorts, where we have more of us doing our goofy things.
Yes, we do. Little bonus content. We've got some cool stickers. Yeah. We've got little goodies. It's pretty great. Yeah,
oh, it's amazing. And I guess until next time, don't go joining misogynistic clubs, even if they are cool and about monsters.
Yes, that's a valuable life lesson from 1987 to you.
Yeah, stay spooky out there, I guess. Bye.
Take care, everybody.
I just want you to listen to the first verse and tell me who rapped it better, me or them.
Okay. Very 80s jams.
Yeah.
You are somehow better, Sam.
Hey, right? That is
Shocking.
not a good rendition. I know, right? So I just want to prove to you that my rendition, if it was set to music, as you called our listeners to do, would be possibly better than this one. And that is saying something because I suck.
You can't see my dance moves, but they're there.
You know what it sounds like, Danielle? It sounds like an after-school 1990s educational rap.
It does.
Drugs are bad. Stay away from punks who want to sell you dope and stuff.
It's like Schoolhouse Rock rap. What's about worse?
This just sounds like, your teacher rapping during a DARE presentation.
I mean, which you would love, but that's not the point.
I love for different reasons.